Welcome. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of artificial intelligence and poetry. Have you ever wondered if a computer can truly capture the unique style of a famous poet? With advances in natural language generation, this question is more relevant than ever. In this video, we'll explore a recent experiment that tested whether AI-generated poems could convincingly mimic the style of renowned Russian poets. You'll look at how style is defined, why it matters, and how experts tried to identify the author behind short fragments of generated poetry. Let's begin our journey into the intersection of technology and literature. Before we get into the experiment, let's clarify what we mean by style in literature. Style isn't just about what is said, but how it's said. It's the unique combination of word choice, rhythm, structure, and even the subtle patterns that make an author's work recognizable. In poetry, style can be especially distinctive, often reflecting the poet's era, philosophy, and personal voice. But capturing this in a computer model is a real challenge. So how do researchers even begin to measure or reproduce style using AI? Let's find out. Style transfer isn't just for images anymore. After big successes in visual arts, researchers have turned their attention to text. The idea is to teach computers to rewrite or generate text in the style of a particular author. But while it's easy to see a painting's style, text is trickier. There's no universal agreement on which features define an author's style. Is it word choice, sentence structure, or something deeper? This uncertainty makes evaluating AI-generated poetry a complex task. To tackle this challenge, Boris Orkov designed an experiment using 3 character-based LSTM neural networks. Each model was trained on the works of a different Russian poet, Nekrasov, Mandelstam, and Pasternak. The goal? Generate short, 4-line poems and see if human experts could identify which poet's style the AI was trying to imitate. This setup allowed researchers to test not only the AI's ability to mimic style, but also the human ability to recognize it in very short texts. Who should judge whether a poem matches a poet's style? In this study, the assessors were not just any readers, they were students specializing in the history of literature. Their deep familiarity with Russian poetry made them ideal for this task. In total, 94 participants took part, each bringing their own expertise and memory of classic poems. This ensured that the evaluation was both informed and serious, avoiding the randomness of unqualified opinions. Each participant was shown a 4-line poem generated by one of the AI models. For each fragment, they were given 4 possible authors to choose from, including the correct poet and some plausible alternatives. To keep things fair, one option was a fictional poet, designed to catch random or careless answers. After making their choice, participants also rated how well they knew the poet's work, from never heard of them to can quote by heart. This extra step helped researchers gauge the reliability of each response. Let's look at the first AI model, trained on the works of Nikolai Nekrasov. The generated poem included words and themes that could hint at the 19th century context, but also some modern-sounding vocabulary. Participants had to decide if the style matched Nekrasov, another real poet, or the fictional beloved. Interestingly, the inclusion of a word like kartochka, card, sparked debate, as it's more common in the 20th century, but does appear in Nekrasov's original texts. This tested not just memory, but nuanced literary judgment. Next, the Mandelstam model produced lines filled with evocative imagery and ambiguous references. The poem mentioned a dress, which could mislead readers into thinking the author was female. The choices included Mandelstam, Akhmatova, Tsvetiva, and Mayakovsky, all poets from similar periods, making the task even harder. Only a deep familiarity with Mandelstam's style would help participants make the right call, highlighting the subtlety required in literary style recognition. Third model, trained on early Pasternak, generated lines with neologisms, new words invented by the AI. For example, novodorodnij doesn't exist in Russian, but it fits Pasternak's experimental style. To make things trickier, Mayakovsky, another poet known for inventing words, was included as a possible answer. This forced participants to rely on their sense of each poet's unique approach to language, rather than just familiar vocabulary. After each guess, participants rated their familiarity with the poet. This step was crucial. It allowed researchers to separate lucky guesses from informed decisions. Those who could quote the poet by heart were far more likely to identify the correct style. This finding suggests that deep, personal knowledge of an author's work is key to recognizing their style, even in very short texts. How well did the experts do? On average, participants correctly identified the poet's style about 40–49% of the time, much better than random guessing. When looking only at those who could quote the poet by heart, accuracy soared to over 80% for Nekrasov. This shows that AI can convincingly mimic poetic style, but only true experts can reliably spot the difference, especially when the choices are close in era and style. Fairly measure performance, the study used macro-average accuracy. This method considers the balance between correct and incorrect answers across all options, not just overall accuracy. It's especially useful in multi-choice settings, where some wrong answers are more understandable than others. For the 3 poets, Macro average accuracy ranged from 0.7 to 0.74 and even higher among the most knowledgeable participants. This statistical approach gives a clearer picture of both AI and human performance. One of the key takeaways is the importance of expertise. Not everyone can recognize a poet's style from just 4 lines. The best results came from those who had internalized the poet's work, often being able to quote lines from memory. This underlines the value of professional readers, such as literary scholars and philologists, in evaluating AI-generated literature. Their specialized knowledge makes them uniquely qualified for this kind of nuanced task. Of course, the experiment had its limitations. The use of a closed list of possible authors made the task more manageable, but also less like real-world authorship attribution. The shortness of the text fragments posed another challenge, as style is often more apparent in longer works. Still, the findings are valuable. AI can reproduce style convincingly, but only experts can reliably tell the difference, especially when the choices are subtle. Summary: this experiment shows that AI can come surprisingly close to capturing the style of great poets, at least in the eyes of well-trained readers. However, true recognition of style requires deep familiarity and expertise. As AI continues to evolve, the collaboration between technology and literary scholarship will become even more important. Whether for creative writing, education, or literary analysis, understanding how machines and humans perceive style opens up exciting new possibilities for the future of poetry.